So how do we create that killer headline? Is a headline important? Well, yes, it is, because the headline is the first thing that a journalist will see. And if you can't hook them with the headline, then they're unlikely to read your press release. So the headline is probably the most important part of your press release and needs a lot of attention. 5 key things to think about. The first one, think about the size of that headline. When a journalist looks at it, he's probably going to look at it, or she's probably going to look at it on an iPhone. And there are about 50 characters, 55 characters they will see before they lose the rest of the headline. So make sure your key message lands in that first 55 characters in the headline. So point number 1, think about its length and keep it really short at the very beginning. Overall, the headline can be 100, 150 characters, but make sure the real meat of it lands at the very beginning. That's point 1. Point 2 is you have to hook the journalist. So that headline has really got to be provocative. It's got to have something in there that makes the journalist say, I want to read further. So think about the hook and get that absolutely right. The third thing to think about is relevance. There's nothing worse for a journalist than seeing a headline that looks really captivating, but when they read the press release, then actually it's got nothing to do with the headline. So the headline has to be relevant and link in to the story. Yes, keep it provocative, keep the hook there, keep it very catchy, but make sure it links in to the overall story that the journalist then reads. The fourth thing to think about is what you put in your headline. If you're a local business and you want local journalists to take an interest in you, well then make sure you include that locality at the very beginning of your headline, because that's what you want the journalist to see at the very start. If it's a sector that you want to focus on, then make sure that sector is included at the very start of your headline. And then point number 5, don't use capitals. Too many people, when they put the headlines out, just put it all in capitals, and you'd be amazed how many firewalls that actually hits. Just put your headline in the same characters that you would normally write. A capital at the beginning, capitals at the beginning of words that you want a capital letter, but not the whole thing in capitals. So there's 5 simple rules to follow to create that killer headline. Firstly, make sure it's not too long and get the message at the beginning. Secondly, make sure you hook the journalist with a really good, captivating headline. Thirdly, make sure it's relevant. Make sure the headline links well into the story. So once you've hooked the journalist, you keep them throughout. Fourthly, if there's a local story, make sure that locality is in the headline. If it's a sector, make sure that's there as well. And fifthly, don't try and take the journalist's attention by putting it all in capitals. That won't work. There's 5 good tips on getting that killer headline.